I can understand where this feeling of relief is coming from.
Just a few clarifying things. You said he was hateful. Can you explain how?
Well, I think he also backed a lot of hateful points.
Such as?
I mean, as far as I'm aware of, he was very anti-abortion. He was very anti-gay marriage. I am not in any way comparing Charlie Kirk to Hitler. Bear with me on this.
Oh.
When Hitler died, do you think people rejoiced? I think that when someone has such a profound impact on people emotionally, when someone is actively trying to enact policies that will harm people, that will end people's lives, because abortion does kill, or anti-abortion policies do kill.
Oh, you said it right the first time.
Abortion kills.
You said it right the first time.
I love that.
I think that, frankly, the most upsetting part of the entire Charlie Kirk situation is the fact that people care so much more when it's his life than it is with anyone else's.
Murdered live on television. That's
Yes.
a huge difference in what you're just
In
saying.
front of his kids too, and his wife.
And I understand.
Duh.
I would.
I want to ask the panel, how do you feel about what happened to Charlie Kirk, starting with you? Actually, starting with you.
Hey. Okay. I personally am never going to celebrate anyone's death, ever. Especially to gun violence, especially to something so preventable. I can understand where this feeling of relief is coming from, though.
What do you mean, relief? Can you explain?
I do think that there is definitely a very strong sense on the internet of people being relieved in their own individual ways, some tasteful, some not tasteful. I think that people can have their own opinions on whether or not he deserved to die. Again, I personally don't think that any individual should ever be making a claim over whether or not someone deserves to live or not. I think that's a slippery slope. I think none of us have that kind of jurisdiction. But I absolutely, I never agreed with him. I think that he was hateful. I think that he caused, he just really did encourage hate among people. And
I just want to say this, in 2025, we enjoy the justice and liberty supposed to be, that's what it's supposed to stand for everybody, being killed for what you believe or and not being able to talk about it, debate about it, and political discourse is a problem because we're not in a third world country. I understand violence is necessary to enact power upon people, but to take out someone who is just more of a social media influencer type of person, that's kind of extreme. You're not taking out lawmakers or Congress or anything at the top of the food chain.
And again, no one deserves to die for that. But when it comes to people online coming off as very relieved, coming off as like almost sadistic over it, I think that it is, this response brought on by a lot of years of resentment and rage watching this man say that gun violence is warranted, say that gun violence is a necessary cost to have guns. Like, he died on the hill that he stood on, and that is still tragic. That is still awful.
I actually just want to interject on that part. The only reason why someone would say that to have guns, you need some gun violence is because if you lived in a utopia where you don't need any weapons because there's no crime. Let's say utopia had no crime. You wouldn't need any weapons to protect yourself. And for any small instance of crime, now you have no weapon. So that's why the statistics has to back up the reasoning to why you even have a gun in the first place. That's what was really the main reason behind that statement.
Do you want to elaborate any further, or is that the bulk of it?
Hold up.
Before I let people jump in on this, I need to get everybody's take here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious.
Okay, so just a few clarifying things. You said he was hateful. Can you explain how?
A lot of his debates were not in good faith. This is quite a minor example, but he did definitely trap people into corners. He did make them look stupid. He used misleading wording. His goal online, as much as
the question was how he was hateful. So, to be clear, I would contest your accusations that he was bad faith or he was misleading or using certain words or whatever. Even if that was the case, though, Why would that be hateful?
Well, I think he also backed a lot of hateful points.
Such as?
I mean, as far as I'm aware of, he was very anti-abortion. He was very anti-gay marriage.
I'm actually not sure on his position on the gay marriage thing, but
yeah, we could probably.
He was anti-abortion. Okay.
The gay marriage one, I could probably use a fact check. I'm not that up to date on his. I haven't looked into it recently.
I would imagine
He was a Christian, so I would imagine that he probably was against gay marriage. Just being honest. Let's continue.
My understanding of his position, he doesn't have any issue with gay people, but given that he's a Christian, I suspect he would have some objections to gay marriage. So
I have absolutely. I know for a
granted-
fact that I have seen clips of him saying that it's like whether unnatural or wrong or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know if he backed it being illegal.
Okay,
I can't. Yeah.
That's fairly minor in terms of, well, I'm sure you object to some of his other positions
Yes.
more. What are the other hateful things?
Honestly, my main one is the abortion. I guess.
Anything else? Was there racism, sexism, anything?
Again, I'm not that up to date on his takes.
Okay,
I wouldn't
but
like
the
to make.
abortion component was the.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to make any false claims, even if I believe that might be
Okay.
true. I can't.
You don't have to agree with what everyone says, but the fact that she's only pinpointing abortion, it shows you what a lot of people are trying to fight for. And I'm not just trying to say women, because you got men fighting for certain things too, but on the woman's side, they definitely fighting for the right to be able to kill a kid in the womb. I mean, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you understand why these people might be rejoicing or happy because, well, his other takes, but one such take that might justify these people's reactions is his anti-abortion position.
Yes.
Well, then, correspondingly, you must be okay also with people who have, and this is something that has happened in the past, when, for example, abortion clinics have been targeted in a violent way. You disavow the violence, but you would understand why somebody would target an abortion clinic?
What do you mean?
Well, you're sort of doing this justification for the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
I do not justify
you're
violence in
saying
any
that
capacity.
Well, you're kind of roundabout saying, well, he didn't deserve to die, but you can understand why other people are happy about it. So then you would have no issue with when abortion clinics have been targeted by anti-abortionists. You would then, you would be okay if somebody was okay with somebody targeting.
Well, I would like to first off reiterate, I'm not making any claim on whether or not he deserved it either way. I don't think I have any right to. I don't.
But you said you understand the opposition. And the thing about it is, since you understand the opposition of taking him out, see, I still don't understand the opposition because he can't change anything. Granted, yes, he was an advocate, he mentored the whole nine to youth or whatnot. But you cannot still destroy the message or the rhetoric that he speaks because it's an ideology which other people follow, which will continue. You chop him down, it's still more, so that you don't solve anything. So I don't even understand what the opposition was to even take him out. The same thing with something that I don't believe. It's literally the same thing.
That is none of my business.
Right, but you're playing cover for the people who are, while they themselves didn't engage in the specific act of violence, you're saying, well, I kind of get why these people are enjoying or rejoicing in his death.
Sure. Do I personally think that it is right to rejoice in it? No. Do I understand that people are not always the most rational when they're emotional? Yes. This is a man who intentionally evoked reaction for clips, for views. He was definitely, the way that he debated was to get clips, and it worked. People had very strong opinions on him. And
that wouldn't justify murder, but
I do not. I'm
right,
anti-violence
but
in all capacities.
I guess my confusion is, especially, and I understand your position, and I understand that you don't think he deserved to be assassinated. My issue, though, is you are playing cover for the people who are rejoicing in his assassination, saying you, to some degree, understand why they would act that way. Look, I understand that people have differences of political opinion and that you might strongly dislike somebody. You might despise them. You might even hate them.
Yeah.
But to me, it would never, like, I don't know why there needs to be a but. Well, I don't know why even people on the left side, there needs to be a but. Well, he didn't deserve to die, but he was bad in all these ways. Why can't we just leave it at what happened was wrong, he didn't deserve to die? And then, look, I'm fine with people having objections to his positions and worldviews. It's fair to criticize those things.
Yeah.
But when we're having a conversation about his assassination and it's followed by a but, it seems like it's getting a bit into the territory of creating a sort of smuggled in justification, even if not for the assassination itself, the sort of clearly, and there's no other word, it's clearly, I would categorize it as evil, to, even if you completely disagree with someone entirely, to rejoice in somebody's death. And some of the things I've seen online, maybe you've seen them, are disgusting. Completely disgusting.
Sure. So
Yeah, I don't really, when it comes down to certain people dying, like, I'm not connected to them, so I don't know them like that. So for me, it's not going to hit the same, like, okay, yeah, someone passed, that's unfortunate. But to go rejoicing or all type of weird stuff, I don't have the energy to do it. I'm thinking about other stuff. I don't have the energy to rejoice over anybody that has kicked the bucket. Even somebody who I really didn't agree with in America. I'm not about to go online, yeah, boy, I'm glad he kicked the bucket. I don't care. But you have some people that they live in these spaces of information, and they obsessed with a lot of these people online making these clips, but they don't understand that even by knocking him off, you only make his clips go even more viral. So the things that he said, it's in the algorithm even heavier. So people are going to hear that message. Now the people who didn't even know who he is, they're going to know, and they're going to listen. They're either going to follow, because his message still going to continue. They either going to follow, or they just still going to be like, that dude's a a-hole, or was an a-hole. So knocking him off only made it more powerful. People really don't understand that.
I'm going to jump to a very extreme example here. Mm-hmm. And I do want to make it clear beforehand, and this will make sense once I pose my question.
Sure.
I am not in any way comparing Charlie Kirk to Hitler. Bear with me on this.
Oh.
When Hitler died, do you think people rejoiced?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. As much as I personally stand by the fact that we should not be claiming who deserves to live or die. We should not be rejoicing death in any sense. I think that when someone has such a profound impact on people emotionally, when someone is actively trying to enact policies that will harm people, that will end people's lives, because abortion does kill, or anti-abortion policies do kill.
Oh, you said it right the first time.
Abortion kills.
You said it right the first time.
I love that.
Anti-abortion policies do kill. And on that note, I think that when people see someone who is affecting their lives in such a heavy way and trying so hard to harm them personally, they obviously are going to have an emotional response to it.
Could I just ask, do you have a better example other than Hitler? Because Hitler has...
really
I know it's very extreme.
It's very extreme to the point because he
Charlie
has murdered people.
Kirk is
Yes.
nothing
Charlie
like
Kirk
Hitler.
has had
Well,
different
of course,
experiences.
my opinion
crazy.
isn't saying that they're in any way similar or on similar levels of evil or anything
You
along
can't
those
even
lines.
use that
But
example.
I'm just curious, why invoke
Black chicks holding her accountable.
that? Because I'm sure we would acknowledge that there is a threshold, right? So is your position, let's just cut to the chase, is your position that Charlie Kirk was beyond the threshold of justified rejoicing in his death because of his political beliefs or whatever?
I personally do believe so. I don't think that it's rational. I don't think it's reasonable. I don't think it's humane. But I think that if someone has an emotional response like that, what he had done would evoke emotional responses like that from people. Whether or
Now she's not holding people accountable for the way how they're reacting or overreacting to the situation. She's not holding people accountable. She's holding Charlie accountable, which is crazy.
not, it's, yeah.
Well, I think there's a couple different thresholds here. So I can understand. Look, I think if there's a person who you hate and they die, maybe they have a personal feeling. Perhaps this is the social media world we live in. even then, I would sort of object to even a private, individual, internal rejoicing when someone dies. I do think that is a bit malevolent and evil, but to publish it is like a much higher threshold. To publish it and to just be so, I can't even,
Hateful.
like it's not just, I'm glad this
Sinister.
happened. Then, like, I've seen clips of people saying, why stop there? What about, I saw this girl who was, she was saying that it should have been the wife and kids too.
Damn.
I've heard
That's
that.
disgusting.
Right.
I think that is disgusting.
But I guess
I ain't gonna lie, and you know the sad part is, bruh, I hate to say this, there's been a lot of women doing it. There's been more women than men that's been actually going like 10 toes down for Charlie Kirk's death. I thought it was gonna be more men talking trash. Man, it's the women. It's crazy, boys. Women online going, they tweaking. Now you got black ones too. You got white ones as well, but you got a lot of black ones coming out, basically 10 toes down, stomping him in the ground on how he believed and how he thought. Man, I don't agree with any social media influencer 100%. We different. All of us are different as people. I might agree with a few talking points, lifestyle choices. That's why you have multiple creators that you probably listen to. Y'all don't listen. Y'all don't believe everything I say. Y'all hear some stuff. Hey man, JayBReacts goofy. You feel me? But maybe it's certain things I might say. You say, oh, I understand where you're coming from. It's like that with just us as people, man. I ain't agree with everything Charlie Kirk said, you know. But there's some things where it makes sense, you know. Even his views on relationship, religion. I'm not deep into religion or whatnot, so me and him would completely disagree. I feel like I've been down that road already. But if you're a Christian, you probably gonna kind of have more, you know, connection to that. So it is what it is, y'all. Let's continue.
the question here is, you mentioned the slippery slope. So what then, like, I guess you would be, if we were to change like the political alignment, let's say, and you know, I was trying to think like who on the left side or the Democrat side would be on Charlie Kirk's level. I don't actually think there's a lot of left-leaning influencers that are on his level. I mean, like if, I was thinking like maybe not even, Hassan is not on Kirk's level.
Destiny?
You know who Hassan Piker is?
Yes.
Right. And just to be clear, don't think anybody should. But I was thinking if like somebody on the other side of the political aisle was assassinated, like would you also go to the defense of say like Republicans or conservatives who are publicly rejoicing and saying like despicable statements because like from their perspective, like logically, wouldn't it follow that, well, because of the disagreements on politics that they're justified in rejoicing?
Well, see, here's where it gets complicated because I don't think that people have a right to rejoice over disagreements, like, right? I don't think that people necessarily are rejoicing over Charlie Kirk's death because they disagreed with him. I think it's because he genuinely was proposing policies that were harming people. He was actively advocating for things that were, yes.
No.
Go on.
Well, so
you get my point.
But you're saying harm, right?
Yes.
But from your perspective, right?
Exactly.
But from the other perspective,
Yes.
they would say, well, these pro-choicers, if they're okay, the pro-choice position is that this is murder. Mm-hmm. When you get an abortion, you're murdering an unborn child. So from their perspective, that's harm being done. So from their perspective, you must, I know you don't agree with that, but you would have to, I guess, to logically be consistent if you're, I mean, otherwise, well, I guess you could just say, well, I don't agree with their worldview, therefore they're not justified in their, you know, rejoicing in like a left-wing politician or, you know, whoever, speaker, political activist being assassinated. But if their worldview is genuinely that abortion is murder, like it would be fair then for them to rejoice?
Yes.
So, okay, then you'd be fine with like abortion clinics being...
No. From my personal perspective, obviously I don't understand it. I can't put myself in that headspace because that's not what I view it as. If someone genuinely believes that babies are being murdered and they assassinate someone to stop that from happening, I can understand people being happy about that if they genuinely believe babies are being murdered.
The thing about it is you can't just murder one person to stop babies from being murdered when it comes down to an abortion perspective. That's why we live in the country we live in, because you have to vote on these policies. It's not just a specific person that's going to be able to stop it. It has to go through a lot of different houses. It has to go past, the Congress, all that stuff before things can change. We don't live in a third world country to where you can start chopping heads off and all of a sudden like, oh, well, we got rid of all the bad messengers. Or, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. It still has to go through the way how the country's set up. So I think that's part of the problem, to where we can still advocate for a certain amount of violence to take someone out because they may be speaking on a message which other people agree with them. I mean, it's going to have to be somebody to agree with them to make their platform as big as it is. She's holding nobody accountable but Charlie Kirk, which is crazy still.
So I can't get into that headspace. I can't get behind it. But with such a strong emotion like that, yeah. I get it.
But so I can tell you this: there are political positions on the left. I lean more conservative, right? I'm not like full blown conservative, but I lean like mostly pretty strongly conservative. There are people who I have fundamental disagreements with on politics and so forth. And there are some positions that I think are really hard, that left-leaning positions, leftist positions, liberal positions, Democrat positions that are really harmful to society. They cause harm. Yeah. But because somebody advocated for these positions or voted for whatever it is, even if a political opponent of mine was assassinated, I would never rejoice. Yeah. I would condemn and disavow anybody on my side who did rejoice, even if this person was a political opponent, a very strong one. That's kind of the difference here. Is I don't think, even though there's differences of political opinion, I don't want to see it happening on my side. I don't want to see it happening on the other side.
Yeah. I am. I have one thing to say on that, and I want to bring the attention more over here because I've been leaving you waiting. I personally, I'm on the same page. I'm not about to go and rejoice over anyone's death, no matter what. Especially because I think when it comes to gun violence, to rejoice in any death from gun violence is to rejoice in gun violence, and I think that is disgusting. I think gun violence is completely avoidable, and one of the it is should be condemned in all manners.
She's not holding people accountable still.
On that note, I do think that there is a. Do you believe that there is like a threshold of evil you can cross to where it's warranted for people to have a reaction, such as the reaction they're having to Charlie Kirk, whether or not you think he was there or not? Do you think that level can be reached?
Yeah, I think that there are genuinely people who are monsters, and yes, but I don't believe Charlie Kirk passed that threshold.
Okay, I can understand that.
Like, for example, you brought up, you invoked Hitler for, I mean, okay.
A bit extreme, I understand.
Well, but I mean, like, this, so Hitler participated, like, there were war crimes.
Yes.
War crimes.
He comes.
But
yes.
But when you're
to some though, people felt like Hitler was the positive in that situation. To some, y'all comment down below if y'all feel like that.
You're engaged in and conducting war crimes, then the ultimate punishment for that would be death. So point out. So like. And this is wartime too. This is a belligerent nation. The United States was opposed to the Axis powers. And Hitler was the leader of Germany. So yeah, typically when you're having an actual physical war with somebody, you're trying to actually like take out the leadership.
Yes.
So there's actually like legal justification, wartime justification for attempting to kill like commanders, leaders of the opposing military because you're at war. In this case, however, I guess my question to you would be, has Charlie Kirk committed an act that the state would be able to commit capital punishment against him for any of his conduct?
Nope.
No, and
So Hitler, as a belligerent against the United States, did commit certain acts during wartime that would warrant capital punishment.
Yes. My question here, when bringing that up, is not to pose why is Hitler deserving and Charlie Kirk isn't. I'm not posing that question. I understand the difference there. The question I am posing is, are there circumstances in which it's warranted? Regardless of what the circumstances are, I'm just wondering if that's a threshold you can reach, which you've said yes to.
So why then can't I say, well, the threshold for murder or assassinating somebody is because they hurt my feelings?
A personal belief like that, it's up to you.
My feelings got hurt.
See, I think that's absurd, but people hold their own individual beliefs. The threshold lies where it lies for each individual. We can't affect that.
Or what about somebody, I don't know, somebody called me stupid.
Sure, yeah, that's insane. But I think that not legally. Anyone can murder anyone. We are really drastically overlooking the point that people are being killed with guns specifically, constantly in this country, obsessively.
Yeah.
And we only really care when it's a public face like this because it's fun to cause outrage, I guess. People love to argue, right?
Well, the thing about it is, for the other people that's getting killed, we're not seeing it online being rejoiced or whatnot. People in your local, communities, we don't see it. Yes, this is a public figure, and we're going to see all the outrage online. So now we get to really see behind the vile thoughts of a lot of individuals because it's right there in your face. That's the big difference. I'm not out here just rejoicing of somebody that I see on the Channel 11 News that just got in a car accident or whatnot. I mean, that's not a funny situation. It's not a good one. It sucks. Every time I hear it, I'm like, damn, man, that's messed up. Because I wouldn't want to be in that situation. And their death doesn't change my life to where it makes my life any better. Just like the other guy, the guy who did it, his death is not going to make his life any better. His life's still going to suck. It's going to be even worse now.
I think that, frankly, the most upsetting part of the entire Charlie Kirk situation is the fact that people care so much more when it's his life than it is with anyone else's.
When he was murdered live on television, that's a huge difference in what you're just saying.
In front of his kids, too, and his wife.
And I understand.
Fucked up.
I would like to ask if I can I discuss Palestine here, or should I not bring that up?
I'm kind of okay with it. One, I know you want to come in.
I'm so sorry. I keep interrupting you.
Well, so war's terrible.
Yes.
I hate to see anybody, whether I agree with them, disagree with them, being killed, civilians being killed, whatever it is. I don't like to see conflict. It's terrible, right? I guess my confusion is, though, if it is the case that Palestinians overwhelmingly are anti-LGBT, then if people are rejoicing because they're being killed, would you have objections to that?
They are children. We're talking. If people want to rejoice,
fine. What about the adults?
The adults.
Yeah.
If people are happy that people who are raised to be homophobic are dying and who never really knew much else and who were raised in a genocide, right? And whatever, never formed full political opinions. If you want to judge their morality based off of that, go for it. I personally care much more about the fact that this culture is being erased, that the land is being taken, that beyond count, that just an insane amount of people are dying, and this is never discussed. It's discussed in the sense of some people online are like, this is bad, and then with the exception of that, people forget for years at a time. I would really like to bring it to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done with my points.
Okay, so you said something very valuable when you talked about we determine how much value a person's life is based on certain things and whose death is more impactful than that. I totally agree with that, and I'm gonna come back to that. But I feel like we also have this difference in value for human life, because you talk about the children in Palestine. We talk about having so much gun control because the children in all of these mass shootings. What is the difference between children that are being aborted?
Said what I said.
Okay, so
what I wanted to say.
Before she says anything, I was thinking the exact same thing. She brought up children in Palestine getting killed, and she was like, they're children. But what about the women that are aborting the kids in the womb, saying that they're not even kids yet, but we know once they come to term, they're going to grow to be a child? It's still killing a child, but they would deem that as not as evil.
The question I'm going to pose.
Yes.
But I just think that we have this selective outrage, because I've seen some horrendous videos on social media lately from clinics of just baby parts in buckets, and it's absolutely ridiculous. But when it's a child sitting in a school, it's somehow different, and that's what's the concern. And I think that's the big thing with Charlie Kirk, is that there's this value placed on life based on what color you are, based on what your political beliefs are, based on how much money you have. And there's this double standard. Going back to earlier, there was this double standard, and we don't have the same energy for all of the different things. So what would you say the difference is? Or even, let's say, people who didn't have an issue with the issue with the assassination of, I think it was like Democratic, I don't know what their exact position was, but it was a couple, I believe. I don't know much about it.
Yes.
People don't have the same upset about that they have had about Mr. Kirk. So it's, what's the explanation for that? Why are we as humans putting this like level of like, okay, this is different death, or this is different violence, or this is different when it's these children, and it's different when it's these children? Like, why do you think that is? And as someone who I assume is pro-abortion?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pro-choice.
So what's the difference between the children in Palestine, children in schools, or children being taken? Because either way, they're young lives.
I do completely understand where
The
you're
outrage behind the Charlie Kirk situation was definitely because of, ideology follows the masses. So obviously the masses must have agreed with a lot of his points.
you're coming from with that. I personally am not going to get onto the argument of whether or not abortion is murder. That is not my abortion take. The reason that I am pro-choice.
Would you say that taking a life is murder?
Well, let me explain my take real quick, and then we'll get into it.
All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and leave it at this point. Go ahead and recap the conversation about the Charlie Kirk situation. Whether you agree or disagree with someone, we live in a country to where we can have peaceful discourse about our differences. Like I said, you had Charlie Kirk as a social media advocate for conservatism and other ideologies that he followed. So to knock him off is not going to reduce or minimize their ideology. There are going to be other people that are still going to be conservative, follow the same path. Vice versa, if it was on the opposite of what he believed in. If you were to off a person that believed in that type of stuff, it wouldn't change anything. That's why we have these liberties, so we can vote, debate, persuade people to now change the masses or whatnot. The man had a powerful voice. I listened to a lot of his content. I agree with some, I didn't agree with some. It is what it is. I think the fact that people are, I think it really just, man, a situation like this just show you how dark people can be and how aware you need to be of the people that's out there. People don't really care about you, just being honest. People are very cutthroat. People are very nasty, evil. That's why you have to protect the people who you surround yourself with. You put your kids around, your loved ones around, because most people will stab you in the back, take the knife out, clean it off, stab you somewhere else with it, and then twist it around inside you probably. People be very very vile, horrendous, So that's why you got to definitely protect yourself amongst certain people, man. Protect your space, protect your energy, especially you got like a high morale character or whatnot. You just got to disassociate and stand on what's true to you. And when I say true to you, we all know generalities still hold weight in the world. And most people are going to think the same. Now, you might have some outliers, but you can't have the outliers speaking for the masses. Most of us are all going to agree to most similarities, because we don't want certain things done to us that someone would want to do to you. If you don't want nobody to commit harm to you, so you're not going to commit harm to them. It's reciprocal. That's usually how people operate. But I want to get y'all thoughts on this, man. I'll make sure I link this in its entirety so y'all can watch the whole thing, all 7 hours of it. Yes, 7 hours. Make sure y'all like this video, comment below. This is your guy JayBReacts, y'all, and until next time, peace.